Greetings, good morning to you. You are tuned in at Spreaker.com with the Encourage Services Show. I am your host, Encouragement Javi. This morning we're going to be discussing creating building blocks in your life, which is the title of our episode. We created the show off of the segments from January through March of what we're working on here at Encouragement Services. And what we're working on from January through March, through the end of March, is creating your own mission statement. Basically, it is how to create more positive space in your life and how to recognize the negative space in your life and how to clear it out. And as the negative space comes back in, because we are human, how to look for ways to continue to create more positive space in your life so that the negative space will become anywhere from 0% to about 5% in your life, and how not to ignore it, the negative space, but how to deal with it. So, we are creating building blocks in our life. And the building blocks that we want to discuss begins with the change in your heart inwardly. This is how to just create more peace in your life. This is very, very important. So if you're trying to take notes, I'll give you some time to get your pencil and papers together. So what I want to discuss with you is that on the Spreaker show, we may be on the air sometimes every day for a week, sometimes once a week, sometimes once a month. Sometimes we may come on every day for 2 weeks straight and then conduct another show once every 2 months, because we are trying to build segments to where we help those who have high stress levels in their life due from extreme dysfunction. An example of extreme dysfunction could be where maybe as the person was a child or a teenager, they were sold from one family to the next, or maybe they've had instances in their life where they got swapped or changed from one family member to the next through beatings, something of that effect. Just extreme dysfunction, or it could be extreme dysfunction mentally, emotionally, and psychologically that happened to the person. And perhaps because of that, maybe they haven't dealt with issues in their life, or maybe perhaps if they did, they're still having issues from that, and is perhaps stopping their developmental thinking. In other words, they can think, but perhaps there's some things in their life that makes it harder for them to think about how to change their ways. Because sometimes what happens is we get used to being a certain way and we might not want to change, or maybe it's so difficult for us to keep putting forth the effort to try. So on our podcast, we target those who've been through extreme dysfunction or who have high levels of stress in their life, those who are trying to create more change and balance in their life to create their own happiness. Because as we all know, happiness doesn't always come from things, and if it does, maybe we're happy for a month or even sometimes a year, but it's nothing like that inner happiness, which is what we want to get down to the bottom of, so that you can create your own happiness inwardly and learn how to develop more positive space in your life and how to recognize the negative space in your life, so it won't be anywhere from a 6% to 100% in your life. You want to get to the point where you have the more positive space in your life that is anywhere from 80 to 100% versus the negative space. If you're interested in receiving free encouragement services, you may give us a call at 1-866-524-4828, extension 2836 for our services department, and we are international. Our main number is 419-956-4172. As well, if you'd like to visit our main website, it is encouragementinthetrauma.org. EncouragementIntrauma.org, or you may visit us at services at encouragementindtrauma.org. Now, we're getting ready to get into the show. One thing you may want to do is practice writing in a journal if you journal, or open your heart up to deep thinking more. Now, there are some who are not into yoga or Pilates, and for whatever reason, they may not have been introduced to it, or some people I've met that have said that that was not for them, or they didn't believe that as a Christian this should be something that they participate in. Probably because of the where it talks about, do this in the shape of an animal and things like that. The reason sometimes it may say that is so that you can recognize how one is getting ready to bend over and stretch. However, if it is not for you, if you want to just do some deep thinking where you're doing deep breathing or just relaxing and closing your eyes, thinking, it really helps, because sometimes we tend to concentrate more so how we want to get back at people and being revengeful and discord and strife, which causes more confusion in our inner man than we do, well, how can I resolve this issue of anger in me, or what is really ticking me off? We don't deep think like that, and once we get to deep thinking that way, we'll begin to see that the anger may rise up, then go down, and it's easier for us to concentrate more, because what you don't want to happen is have your anger rise up so high that it creates high blood pressure problems, or more anger problems, or maybe physical ailments in your body. And as you begin to deep think, you may want to write down things like building blocks in my life. How can I continue to build change in my heart throughout this month? Some people work on it for a year. That's why with encouragement services we work on it this month from January through March, through the end of March, and each month we mail out different types of things that maybe you should be working on to build more change in your heart. Sometimes we'll keep the same Microsoft PowerPoint and the Microsoft Word document, and we just add from it. Say, for example, if we're building change in our heart throughout this month, next month you might receive the same Microsoft document, and we might say, if you working on building change in your heart last month, this month you might want to work on building positive space in your heart, because it's a difference when you're working little by little on something every day, and as you begin to work on it, you'll begin to see where you need to progress through certain stages, where you begin to have a handle on certain things in your life. It's a difference in forgiving and learning to continually forgive every day when you're trying to walk in it. When you're learning to continue to forgive every day and start working on yourself for a month for that, maybe through praying for yourself, that you learn to forgive and love yourself, or maybe through praying for those who is harder to forgive, it'll be much easier a year later, perhaps when someone hurts you more or do something that's not real good to you, to be easier to just forgive them and release that person, instead of creating more confusion and chaos in your life by just dwelling on that person. So, the first step you want to do is you want to use building blocks to continue building change in your heart throughout this month. If you have another building block you want to work on, you can certainly do that. You can do a building block of, I want to work on this month forgiveness in my heart throughout this month. with building change of forgiveness. And if you're working on forgiveness for yourself, maybe you want to work on, how can I learn to love myself? One thing that I had to do when I began to work on that building block was accept myself. Accept what has happened to me, whether it was my fault or not. And then the second building block was release myself, to be myself and to forgive myself. So what I have on the Microsoft Word document is 5 blocks, and you can certainly do these on your paper, or you can email us or call us and ask us to mail these off to you or email it to you. I have week 1. Work on forgiving yourself or learning how to manage your anger, or how you can change your heart throughout this month. You know what you need to work on. The second block is, as you are beginning to change your heart towards becoming more at peace with yourself, begin writing down your progress. Some people like to keep a mental note of their progress. I've heard that for some people, when they've had a lot of things going on within their mind, it's easier to keep a mental note of what's going on, and it's almost to them like writing down on paper. And then there are some people who prefer to write a journal. And also, one thing that I did was I would have little sticky notes, and I have a little box, and I would write down things that I have given over to the Lord, and I would put it in a little box. And as I put it in a little box, I would keep that box sometimes for a year that I did this, sometimes for a month that I did that. And what I do is I'd go back and look at it, and I write down how I progress, or maybe at the end of the year I would look at it, and then I would just simply shred it and throw it away. Some people keep theirs for 5 or 10 years. It's however you want to do. And although we are a Christian organization, you don't have to be a Christian to do this. You can write down what you have chosen to do for yourself. And then the third block would be, as we're doing this, how are you growing with a more loving heart, such as forgiveness, being self-responsible. Excuse me. The fourth block would be doing something special for yourself this week, such as giving yourself a hug, perhaps giving your children a hug. Tell yourself how you love yourself, how much you are special to yourself, because we have to live with ourselves. And once you stop beating up against yourself, it'll be much easier for you to get along in this world with yourself. And it will cut out so much confusion inwardly that you will have going on with yourself. Also, how can you change your thought life? The fifth block would be changing your thought life. Do not be moved by what others are saying. Allow the way you look at these circumstances to change. Sometimes we as people can be more apt and more concerned about what other people are saying about us in our lives than allowing the way we look at the circumstance to change. Say, for example, if in fact we did something that was wrong and that we shouldn't have, instead of looking at people running their mouth or saying things that aren't good, that aren't going to build us up, you may want to decide, well, I'm going to tune that out. And when I say tune out, simply mean, well, I don't need that negative energy in my life. I don't want to create a negative stress in my life. So I'm going to do a positive energy in my life and create a positive space in my life by allowing the way I see that circumstance to change. So in other words, although that may be true, I can choose to pray for that person if I need to for a week, and then decide, well, what can I learn from that? Maybe I don't want to treat other people that way. Or maybe I can just learn not to create negative space in my heart like that, because that is not something I want to further develop and cause me more confusion inwardly in my own heart. So, the first building block was using the building blocks to continue building change in your heart throughout this month. That would be A. Number B, the second building block is opening up newness of heart to gain a different outlook in your life. And C, the third building blocks for a successful heart and a new perspective on your life. All that equal these 5 building blocks that I've had up here, which is what you're going to be working on for the whole month. And I put week 1, and I have them in little blocks, so you might want to write them down. Work on forgiving yourself or learning how to manage your anger. 2, as you are beginning to change your heart towards becoming more at peace with yourself, begin writing down your progress. 3, how are you growing with a more loving heart? Forgiveness, being self-responsible. Whatever else you want to put down. 4, doing something special for yourself this week, such as a hug. Tell yourself you love yourself. How can you change your thought life? Changing your thought life is number 5. Changing your thought life. Do not be moved by what others are saying. Allow the way you look at the circumstance to change. And remember, as you begin to start creating a more positive space in your life and heart for yourself, you will find that your heart will become more open to forgiving and letting resentment, bitterness, and anger go out of your heart. You will see your heart and thought life change on a daily basis as you continue, as you want to clean your heart and life up more inwardly. If you're not ready to forgive someone at this time, consider managing your anger, which is better for your mental and emotional health. Think about the good things that you are improving on in your life. Forgive yourself. Release yourself to love and walk in peace. It is how you choose to handle anger, not so much that you have become angered. Remember that you are a person. You're going to make mistakes. And of course, anger and bitterness and unforgiveness will slip back into our life. But you'll be more focused on the negative space in your life and how you don't want that negative space to become a part of your life for a long period of time, which is good for you, which means you have a better handle on it when you started out trying to create more happiness and peace in your life than you did when you was not thinking about how to create more happiness and peace in your life. As well, you want to move on to the second stage, which is the second week you want to work on. And you can still work on the first week and second week if you want, or work on this throughout the whole month. It's how you want to do it, how it works for you. Let negative space out of your heart. And as you begin to do that, you want to replace negative space with calmness. Think on things that are uplifting. Things such as good things that happened perhaps growing up, or what happened in your life, or a beach, or meditating. Think on things that are loving, peaceful, encouraging. Try to get around those people who are either encouraging, or you learn to encourage yourself more, or those people who are going to be a part of the solution in your life and not a problem. Because a lot of times when people have high stress levels in their life, you definitely do not need someone who is going to be part of the problem and not the solution in your life, and who want to focus on maybe one thing or many things that you're done, instead of trying to help you become a whole person. I'm not saying everybody in your life needs to help you become a whole person, but you want to be careful who you keep close and those who are there to create chaos in your life. If you allow it, it can help you grow, but you also want to distance yourself from those people quietly. You also want to bring calmness in your life through meditation with relaxing, calm, and peaceful music. You know which type of music you like. Some people listen to Masonic Christian music. Some people listen to Arabian music. Some listen to a beat of hip hop, and they say that it brings them more calm and peacefulness. However you want to do it, I listen to different types. I also listen to a lot of waterfalls. And another block is you want to bring calm energy into your life by thinking on one thing at a time. Choose not to worry because it cannot change anything. Instead, what you want to do is release peace in your life by staying calm and creating your own happiness by being a peaceful person. Examples: you can start loving yourself more by forgiving yourself. Forgiving that person that causes you to allow bitterness to come into your heart, because you realize that forgiveness is not for the other person, but it's about you. An example could be you will decide to walk in peace today instead of revengefulness. So you want to concentrate on that. And the third week, as you're working on week 2 and 3, or however you're doing this, you want to keep working on your heart and creating calmness and peace in your life. Because as you do things long enough and for a certain period of time, it begins to stick with you. And your body and soul, mentally and emotionally, you'll start missing it, and it'll begin to realize this is what it wants, that it doesn't want the revengefulness and anger that you were used to or prone to. It doesn't want all the high stress that you had got used to creating in your body. It'll begin to long for peace or for meditation or for calm energy. You want to continue to work on your plan to bring more calmness, peacefulness, and energy to your life by learning to manage your anger, letting go of forgiveness, bitterness, and loving and accepting yourself as a person this week and next week. It is suggested that you write your plan for your life, such as a mission statement or creating your own happiness out. You may use the one and it says in the next page as a guide to write on your own mission statement as well. Please view the PowerPoint and creating your own mission statement. If you would like that, we can certainly send it to you. But you can use your own mission statement. You can write down what you would like. For example, with your mission statement, I'm creating my own happiness. Mine, for example, was I dedicate myself to create my own happiness starting today. In order to create happiness for myself, I bring calmness and peace in my heart and life through meditating, thinking on one thing at a time, creating a greater awareness by choosing how I think about others, by having and showing some integrity and respect for myself. Every morning I choose to let go of unforgiveness, bitterness, and anger. Instead, I replace my heart with kindness and peacefulness to help me bring more thoughtful perspective within my life. Bitterness clouds my thinking. Therefore, I replace bitterness with having hope and choosing to see how I can best handle circumstances in my life. Peace and calmness I embrace to bring complete joy within my life one day at a time. Newness of life I choose to set in place for myself. And so what I done is I write down why I'm creating happiness in my life, and my mission statement was I dedicate myself to create my own happiness. What it is about bitterness, that how it clouded my mind, how it wasn't good for me, and third, what I just chose to replace it with. And this is what I work on. And you may do the same thing. I want to say thank you so much for tuning in and listening in. You may click on follow us if you like. Please let us know how we're doing. Thank you for your comments. And if you'd like to follow us on Facebook, if you go to Javi C at J A V as in Victor, another V as in Victor, I and C, Javi C, you can click on follow, and you'll be able to follow when we're going to have certain episodes, shows that we've already had, and what it is we're doing here at Encouragement Services. Encouragement Services is free, by the way. And we do this because we want to help create more peace and happiness in a person's life. And our goal is to target those people who have had extreme stress issues in their life, or who are having stress issues, and those who have been victims of childhood abuse and try to learning to overcome in a much more happy, peaceful way. When I say happy, in other words, how to learn to create their own happiness for their life. Our main number is 419-956-4172. Our toll is 1-866-524-4828, extension 2836. And if you'd like to email us, you can do that at services@encouragementinthetrauma.org. And our main website is encouragementinthetrauma.org. We would love to hear from you and to know how we're doing. If you would like pamphlets or more information about us, you can go to encouragementinthetrauma.org and click on the Contact Us page, or email us or call us and leave your address or email address, and we'll be glad to send you some information regarding us. Thank you so much for tuning in. May you have a great day. Please think of someone that you encourage today, that you can encourage today. And remember to stay around those who are trying to create more positive space in their life, and who can be more of a blessing to you and not a hindrance. May you have a blessed day. And one does not have to be a Christian to receive free encouragement services. Although we are a Christian organization, we have a form that you can click for general, or for wanting to receive general and Christian information. Until next time, this is the Encourage Services Show. I am your host, Encouragement Javi. Our title for today is Creating Building Blocks in Your Life. See you soon.